we learn anything new about Jimmy Johnson's exit from the Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the access to both Jerry and Jimmy was fundamental and crucial to why we wanted to make this documentary series. And I know that they've spoken at length, almost separately, about their relationship. And then when they have gotten together to chat about it, it's maybe like a short segment that they did on Fox. But for us, our opportunity was we got to sit down with Jimmy for a full day, I think 7 hours of interviews, and we filmed with him a couple
Wow.
more days. And then Jerry, we interviewed for about 40 hours. So for us, the opportunity to go deep with these guys was really what drew us to it. And obviously, I know that it's been covered for years, and I think that there is an element of this is true, which is their egos got too big. They had a massive credit argument, and they tried to claim more credit than the other one felt. And I certainly think that that's a part of their story, but. For us, we tried to go a little bit deeper. For Jerry, I felt that what ultimately I ended up kind of feeling as I made this documentary series was this was a guy who had a transformative experience in college. It was the best moment of his life. He won the 1964 national championship at the University of Arkansas. Years later, he nets himself $100 million, and he does what maybe I would do or my friends would do if they won $100 million overnight. They go and they buy the Dallas Cowboys. And I think he did that in an attempt to kind of recapture a really big, beautiful, transformative part of his life in college. And he hires a guy that he's known since he's 17 years old. But Jimmy's point is like, Jerry, you hired me to do a job, and I need to go out and convince these players day in, day out to go sacrifice their body and their health so that we can win Lombardi trophies. And every Sunday they need to go out and do that. But the locker room, practice, these are my areas. And when you come in, you can be a distraction in that endeavor. When you bring ESPN cameras into the draft room, things like that, I think ultimately started just really rubbing these guys the wrong way. So they kind of almost had different schools of thought, I would say. And listen, there's still some things that these guys are never going to agree on. If you get them in the same room and ask them who deserves credit for the Herschel Walker trade, you're never going to get the same answer. They're just that's how they feel, and that's how they're always going to feel. But I do think that they still have a lot of actual respect and admiration that's grown for each other. They've always had that to a certain degree, and I think that that's beautiful. It's okay to disagree with people forever and still get along. Jerry and Jimmy teach us that.